Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So before this video starts, I wanted to tell you guys something that's been going on. This video was actually filmed like 2 weeks ago, to be exact, July 7th, and then I had to actually get my laptop fixed, which I still have not gotten yet because it's obviously with the whole pandemic going on, it's not top priority to get your laptop fixed, you know. Like the whole last week I've been trying to figure out ways on how to edit my videos because I actually have 2 videos filmed for you guys already and I have not edited them yet because I haven't figured out how to until today. So I've downloaded editing softwares onto my family members' laptops. That didn't work, but I honestly didn't even want to edit on my phone because the creativity level on the phone iMovie is really bad. Like, it doesn't allow you to do as much as you could on a laptop. I didn't really want to do that, but after that I didn't know how to actually even send the videos that were on my SD card to my phone until literally today. I was like thinking, you know, out of nowhere it was like I have Bluetooth on my camera. I could send the videos from my camera directly to my phone. So of course that is why I'm making this intro today, because that means that you guys are probably most likely going to see this because I am over not having videos for you guys, and also because I want to be held accountable. I told you guys that I want to post every Monday, and that's exactly what I want to do, you know, but unfortunately life circumstances, it didn't let me. But you know, I was like this whole entire time thinking of ways of how I could edit videos because of course this is something that I want to do and something that I want to put my all into. Okay, with that being said, let's get on to this video. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I have a different type of video for you guys. As you guys can see from the title of this video, it's about my schizophrenic neighbor. I do want to give you guys some background, I guess, information. I took notes on my phone, so if you guys see me looking down, is because I don't want to miss anything. To begin my story, I want to make a disclaimer. I am not saying that every person who has schizophrenia, every person who, you know, has a disorder will harm another person. According to many studies, it is more likely that they will be targeted. Somebody with a disorder would be targeted. So I want to make sure that none of you guys take it offensive. If you guys have a family member with any type of disorder, I don't want you guys to take it offensive. You know, this is just what happened to me. This is just my story. As everybody has their own story, this is my story. So you know, I don't want it to be seen as I am trying to offend. I'm not trying to do that, okay? I just want to make that clear. I just want to make it very clear that the reason I know he has schizophrenia is because my mom took him to court many times. So it was clear, it was known that he had a disorder. So I don't want you guys to think that I'm making stuff up. So now we're gonna get into the video. Okay, so this all began when I was in elementary school, and we actually moved into this house when I was 4 years old. So you could just imagine it took some time for this to get to this point. But yeah, so this all was going on when I was in elementary school. So I was very young, very impressionable, very, you know, I just didn't know. I didn't know much, but I did know what I felt and what I saw. So this all began with him throwing kisses at my mom from his house, right? Throwing kisses at my mom, and it began with like a cat calling, just like here, you know, from his door. And mind you, like, he lives right next door, so he knew what time mom got home, knew what time she left. For example, let's say she would get home by 7, right? So he would wait at his door, and he has like those screen black doors, so you can't see inside, but you could kind of see out. But you can see inside when, like, let's say right, there's a wooden door behind that screen door, and that wooden door is open. The light reflects, you know, a body. So we would kind of see him there, and like that's when we started noticing, like, oh, you know, something's a little off, because that's not normal, you know, that's not normal to just be waiting for somebody. So that's how it began. It began with him like catcalling, throwing kisses, and that's how it was for a while, right? And then it quickly escalated to him throwing rocks at my mom's car and at our house. And mind you, she was the only one being targeted. No one else in my family was being targeted but my mom. That's how we knew that there was something else going on, because according to everything, right, everything that we know now, it was more like he was in love with her or he liked her. I don't understand, right? Since my mom would drop me off from school and then she would pick me up, so when she would pick me up, we would be terrified. I would be terrified of coming home. I 9 times out of 10 did not want to come home. I was like, I don't want to be there, I am good. Like, I was just terrified, as a child would, you know. You don't understand what's going on. All you just see is that this person's trying to hurt your mom, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And so, you know, that's how it began with like us and that fear, you know, and us not wanting to come home. I was so terrified that it actually began to bother my sleep. I do remember having very, very vivid and multiple dreams of him coming into my house, of him trying to hurt us, and we like running away, like kind of like a scary movie situation. And at that time, you know, we had my dog Rusty and Shadow, and they hated him like with a fucking passion. Every single time they would see them, they would like go off. Like they did not fucking like him, because it was obviously something that they lived through too. They seen how this man was a threat, because he would physically try to hurt like people who my dog loved. It was very emotionally like distressing for me and my mom, obviously all of us, but I feel like it more affected me and my mom. Well, one, because I was a child, two, because it was directed towards her. I was her child. I was like, girl, if she can't protect me, then who can? You know what I mean? So it was a lot. But obviously this is our home. We are not punks. We're not about to leave. My mom is a fighter. She does not give up. Like, we do not give up in this house. No, ma'am. It quickly escalated to us having to call my grandma every single time that, you know, we were coming home from anything. Like, for example, what we would do is we would come home, like I said, around like 7:30. And what we would do was we would call my grandma when we reached the corner of the street, so she could be waiting outside for us, because for some reason, like when my grandma was around, he wouldn't mess with my mom. When my grandma was with us, he would not do a damn thing, honey. He wouldn't even look at us. She would like basically escort us into our own home, basically protecting my mom's car, because like he was gonna do more damage to my mom's car before he got to her, if you know what I mean. It went from rocks to bricks, because in the back of his house he literally had a pile of bricks, right? So these bricks were being thrown at the car and at my house. The first incident that happened was that he broke my mom's car lights with a brick. One morning, she was gonna go heat up the car, so she goes to the back, and then I guess she sees that her lights are broken. She pieced the puzzle together, and then she, you know, took them to court, to like small court, you know. She took them to court and they had to pay, and that's how we started to find out that he was the one doing this damage. The second incident was he actually broke my mom's front window, like the big window in the front of the car. He broke that one. The third incident for like small court was where he threw a brick at the car, but like at the side of the car, so he left a huge dent in the side. So mind you, my mom was not playing. She was like, all right, you want to damage shit that does not have nothing to do with you? Cool, but make sure you're ready, bitch, because you're gonna have to pay up. Sure enough, his family had to pay up, and it didn't matter if they had to do it in pagos, sweetheart, because they were gonna pay up, because my mom's car was looking a mess. He broke the windows. He smashed her car with bricks, obviously leaving dents. My mom soon got tired of him obviously ruining her car every single time that he felt like it. So one of my uncles built her basically like a garage. Oh, imagine a wooden box with wheels that you have to basically enclose your car into, that she had to move every single day, so that every single night he could not damage her car more and more and more. Okay, also he wouldn't only try to like hurt my mom or like damage her car at night. It was constantly, it was in the mornings, because even in the mornings, like he knew what time she would leave. He knew everything, because like he was right there. He knew, he saw, so he knew the time that she had to go to work. So he would like wait for her and be hiding in between like the bushes, and like, you know, to basically scare her. Somebody always had to walk her, because like it was like that. Like he would be hiding to come out and scare her. And he had balls, because he would do this in the morning. It was like bright and early, 8 o'clock. Things like that is what began the fear of him. She would take them to small court every single time, and every single time that he would do something to us, like, or to the house, or anything, we would call the police. We would call the police every single time. And the fact that his parents were there, didn't say anything, didn't do anything. And every single time that the police was called to my house, because he would try to come into my house and like, I guess, break in. He had like this wire like this wire stick, I guess, trying to break into my door, my like front door. He would try to break stuff. He tried to burn down my house. But all these are other stories that we could get into some other time. But like, you know, he tried to do all of that, and every single time that he tried to do that, we called the police, we called the police, we called the police. And then that moment in time, there was still faith in the police, you know what I mean? So they would come, they would write a report. So it was there. So my mom would take him to court. There was proof that these things happen, because you know, if you don't have proof, then there isn't much to defend your case besides your word. And since his parents didn't force him to take his medication, and in fact would allow him to continue doing this, because by not forcing your son who clearly needs it, you're allowing him to continue messing with a family that has never done anything to them, has never ever messed with them. And then on top of that, whenever we would call the police, his parents would defend him. They would be like, no, my son did not do that, my son did not do that. And I would remember hearing them from their house telling the cops that no, my son did not do this, my son did not do that. But it's like, no, yes, your son did do this. Your son did try to come into my house. Your son did try to break my mom's windows. Your son terrorized us. Yes, he did. And so it was a battle. It was a constant battle with his family in mind. But we never gave up. You know, we're not those type of people. We're not. So when my mom would take him to court, it was small court, but it was still court. So he and his family had to show up, right? And the people that would show up were his sisters. They didn't even live here. So to me, that was kind of like, how are you gonna defend your brother when, you know, you don't even live here? I don't know. That's just my thought. And at this time, obviously my mom had to defend herself, because obviously she didn't afford a lawyer. So she would defend herself, and since the proof is in the pudding, my mom always won the court situations. She always had pictures, always had proof, always had the police reports, always had everything. They always had to pay up, you know, which is not the point. The point was for him to understand, and for his family to understand, that every single time that your brother does some crazy ass shit to me, we're gonna be here and we're gonna have to repeat the process. Like, his family would go to court for him. They would also want to talk for him in court. And of course, he didn't have maybe the best education growing up, but yet he could speak. He could speak. So the judges were not nice. They were like, girl, your brother has all the balls in the world to do all this damage to this poor woman. He better speak up. And sure enough, they would make him speak up. And even though like it wasn't that clear, it showed that he was able to speak. But I feel like that was all an act, because when he was here, he had a bunch of words. It even came to the point where his family, like I said, they're enablers. They're just not the best people, if I'm being honest with you guys. And it came to a point where his sister tried to tell my mom that, oh, like, if this is a problem, then why don't you just pack up your shit and go? My mom and my grandma were like, sweetheart, this is my house and we're not leaving. You got me fucked up if you think we're about to leave. You get what I mean? Like, she must have... That's when my mom was like, yeah, no, this is the problem and they are the problem. And until they decide to, you know, help their brother that clearly needs it, she was like, we are not leaving. She was like, we are not moving. She was like, I don't care if I need to take him to court. I don't care if I need to call the police every single time that he does something to us, but I will continue to do that, because this is not right. This is not okay. And thankfully we had people in the house who always defended us, who always, you know, we're always there to fight for us. He's a grown man. He's a hefty motherfucker. You know what I mean? So there's only so much my mom could do, because my mom, like, she tried everything, you know. But obviously there was times where I had to get physical, but not with my mom, but like with my uncles and stuff like that, just because it was a lot and it was enough. Like, we had enough. After like 2 years, this might have lasted around 5 years, you guys. I am not kidding. And when I talked to my mom, like, damn, Ma, like, you took all of that for 5 years? She was like, yeah. She was like, but you know, at the end of the day, like, I was not gonna let this happen to another person, because if we moved, it was gonna happen. It was gonna happen again, as it happened once before with previous neighbors. When we moved into this house, we didn't know that this was something he did. Apparently he had messed with a previous neighbor. She didn't even live near him. She lived like down the street, but he had seen her once and was in love with her. And I guess she parked her car on the street and didn't have anybody to defend her, so he would pop her tires, he would get on her car and smash her windows. That is crazy to me. Like, that is crazy to me that somebody allowed this to happen. I feel like as a parent, it's your responsibility. It doesn't even matter if they're adults. Like, as someone who can't clearly take care of themselves, you have the responsibility to take care of them. And it's like mind-blowing that his parents didn't do that. His sisters didn't do that, but yet they had the nerve to stick up for him. Like, oh yeah, my brother didn't do that. My brother would never do that. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, are you... Like, what part am I missing? You get what I mean? Like, it was so frustrating dealing with his sisters until this day. Bitch, I can't stand them. So after a while of my mom calling the police every day, every other day, every other week, was able to get a restraining orders so that he couldn't get like too close to her, because sweetheart, he tried it. He tried it. Like I said, that's a story for another time. He tried to assault her. He tried to do all of that. I will share those stories with you guys if you guys want me to. You know, just make sure to let me know if you guys want me to. A lot of our like surrounding neighbors actually got involved into all of this because they noticed, I guess, that my family didn't mess with anybody, didn't, you know, we weren't looking for problems. Our neighbors got involved many times when my mom would yell, because she would yell for help, like yelling, and I guess he went off that. Like, it gave him pleasure to see that my mom was like terrified. There was times where my grandma wasn't home, like I mentioned, so thankfully my neighbor that's like across the street from me, like, she is a sweetheart. Like, she is a sweetheart. Like, she helped my mom so many times, she protected her so many times, and she didn't care. Something else his sisters would try doing is his sisters would try telling my mom that it was basically her fault because she was like insinuating him, like trying to catch his attention. And my mom was like, what? Like, she was so like, did these bitches really just say this to me? I never, she told me, she was like, I never ever even looked at him when he would even begin, like, you know, the cat calling. She was like, I would never ever even look at him. So I don't understand why they're trying to say that I would insinuate this like interaction. She was like, never, that would never happen, because like, ew. I was like, period. Mind you guys that him like damaging my mom's car wasn't the only thing he damaged. He actually damaged like my house windows. He damaged my house gate. He damaged my house like front door. But there was one day where he tried to burn down my house. Sweetheart, that obviously didn't fucking go through. So I briefly mentioned that this lasted around 5 years, and I was like, what the fuck, bitch, what the fuck? So the way that this all ended was because when his parents ended up dying, his sisters became in charge of the house. So that means that they were actually going to be living there. Since they were going to be living there, they make sure to enforce him to start drinking his medicines, because obviously that was a problem. He wasn't taking his medication at all. So they told him like, hey, you know what, like, if you don't start drinking your medication, if you don't get your act right, like, we're gonna send you back to your country. It was funny because it worked. Like, his sister's telling him, you know, if you don't drink your medicine, if you don't relax, if you don't stop doing all this shit, like, we're gonna send you back to your country, because apparently they have the ability to, but it's just like a tactic to get him to start drinking his medicine and to not mess with us. And this happened because, like I told you guys, he tried to assault my mom in many times, in multiple occasions. And there was one specific time where he tried it, sis. He tried it. And if it wasn't for my neighbors, like, I don't know what would have happened. Because of that time, my mom was actually appointed a lawyer from the county. So because she was appointed a lawyer, like, shit was serious. So they were able to get the restraining order. That meant that he couldn't come more than I don't know how many feet close to her. So if he did and my mom called the cops, like, he was gonna get automatically arrested. And mind you, he was getting arrested multiple times for many of the things he was doing. So all of this was adding up into his record, so there was proof. But of course they couldn't hold him for too long because it was explained by his disorder. And that's... And you guys may be wondering, how the fuck does this bitch know what the fuck going on over there? Well, I know because my lovely uncles, uncle talks to his sister, and I guess she told him that That's basically what happened. Or that's how my family was able to find out. Why was there a switch in his attitude? Why was there such a change, you know? Was because of that. Because of that exact reason. There's a funny little twist to this story. So, his sisters, I guess one of them has a son. He, I guess, was in some trouble one day. I don't know. And this heifer had the nerve, the audacity to come to my house, bang on my door, and say, oh, my son is having some police trouble right now and he's in prison, and we're wondering if you could write us a letter to basically help his case. Excuse me, what? Oh, weren't you the one defending your brother while he was attacking my mom? What? So my grandma politely answered her, do you really think I want to write your son a letter while my daughter was being harassed by your brother for 5 years? And not once did you do something? Not once did you say, hey, get your shit together? Not once. Until you felt like it, you were like, hey bro, take your medicine and act right. You must be on something, sweetheart. She tried to say that because we had lived here for so long and, you know, we knew him. Bitch, we didn't know him. Bitch, no. No, bitch, you're tripping. You're big tripping if you think that someone was gonna write him a letter from this house. And that was that, bitch. My grandma did not write no damn letter. And she was tripping if she thought my grandma was gonna write her a letter. No, bitch. We're sorry, but we're not sorry. I also want to say another thing. Just because he has a mental disorder, that does not make it okay for him to have been able to harass my mother. Yes, we understand that he has a disorder and that he had no knowing of, like, you know, anything because he wasn't on medication. That is not an excuse for the way that he acted, for the way that he treated my mother. That is not an excuse. I understand that, you know, his family failed him. I understand everything. But that is not an excuse for him to have harassed my mom for that long. But, sweetheart, my mom was able to cut that pattern of him doing shit to women. And my mom was able to do it because my mom was not acquitted, like I said. They were going to get tired or my mom was going to get tired. And my mom was never going to get tired. So, I understand he had a mental disorder. I understand all of it. But it's not an excuse for his family to have enabled him for that long. They are the fucking problem. Alright, you guys, so this is the end of my video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this little story time. Like I said, make sure to let me know if you guys want to hear more of these stories. Of course, I have so many more because this went on for 5 years, so girl, I got plenty. And yeah, I would be more than happy to share them with you guys. So make sure to like and subscribe for me, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!